right, to play in either the finals or the lower bracket finals, but whether D+ or B and K would be there. So the global side said D+ were more likely to go. The Korean side said B and K were more likely to go. So yesterday, after we went to 5, we were feeling real good. Like, oh, B and K struggled a little bit against DNS. You know, I think D+ is the stronger team, but now it's looking maybe a little bit different.
Well, I mean, if you watch the PUG state, that's not what I think. I'm with the Korean side. I actually feel like it's probably B&K.
Maybe we should have asked the question about.
I was certainly feeling nervous yesterday though, because that was not clean.
Yeah, maybe
this isn't either. So I guess we're both feeling anxious.
Maybe we should have been asking the question whether it was DRX or DNS who will be going. B&K did win yesterday. We'll see if D+ can stop this 3-1, as once again the Rumble will be banned. But I like how D+, or rather how DRX have approached these drafts, right? Early on, going for the first pick, but as we get super deep, now looking for counter pick. Well, a lot of these picks are gone, and D+ has just been like blue side or bust.
Yeah, they will always pick blue side. That is just the way. Not sure whether I agree with it, but I like the consistency. As Gwen and Rumble are going to be banned away here, Shiu is getting targeted in the opening bans this time around. We've seen Jarvans and Pantheons banned every single time, but maybe something's going to get through, as Jarvan, Pantheon, Vi were all taken away in the last game, and now maybe only one of them left back up again, as there is the Pantheon taken away.
I think Vi will probably be the final ban here then.
I hope so. I mean, Lucid is so good at it. I think that DRX probably need to get rid of that one, but that gives him the Jarvan. Maybe you just ban neither of them and be okay with the trade.
Yeah, that might also be the way. They will do that. And they'll also ban the Ahri, saying you can get Vi, but you can't get Vi Ahri. So you can have that, and we'll get Jarvan. And they may just opt to go to Jarvan themselves instead.
Do you know what I feel in my waters, Wolf? I feel like whoever picks Taliyah will lose this series.
Yeah, I hope neither of them pick Taliyah, and then we keep it up in the air and just...
That'd be nice.
We don't just have it predetermined.
If DK first picks Taliyah here, I'm going to be very sad. But the Vi is up and available. I think it's a pretty obvious one.
Okay, so Jarvan plus what? You know, the AD carry pool has been thinned out pretty substantially, obviously, and you don't want to pick Kai'Sa super early on in this draft. I think Ezreal is in an insane state right now in you know, the buff that he received, so maybe you could just go for Ezreal here. It's safe into the Vi as well. Instead, they're going to go for the Galio, because they don't have to get Jarvan right here. And now I'm not 100% sure what they're going to do. Is this like a Zeri comp? Oh,
Naafiri! Naafiri was buffed a little bit in the jungle.
Yeah.
Her clear is a little bit faster, so that's kind of fun. So Willa's going to go for that one. This has been, like, this was the Raptor answer to the Vi. That was when Naafiri really rose to prominence, and so he's going to go for it again. This time, Willa piloting the doggo. That'd be a bit of fun, as now Jack's being hovered. See whether Shiu does decide to lock that one in.
There aren't a lot of great answers to it in Rich's wheelhouse. Rich's Gragas has never been too inspiring. The Nara is obviously gone.
He does play the Gragas a lot, though, even if it isn't necessarily that inspiring.
I don't really... It's not my favorite Rich champion. There's no Cannon, obviously. That's gone. There's no Aurora. So it is a very strong Jax angle and works well with the Vi.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no, Wolf. No. No, 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 no. Okay, it's going to be the bird. No!
I like the Anivia more. But
Me too.
Vi Taliyah is just too much to pass up, especially for CV Mags.
And all right, I need to clarify something with someone. This is purely personal bias. I just don't think Taliyah is very good.
I think Taliyah really struggles in this meta. I mean, it's better into the Galio.
And there's not a lot of damage on the enemy team at this point in time.
You need a hyper carry if you are DRX. I'm looking at picks like Zeri here that you need, Aphelios, or perhaps even Jinx could actually do quite well because he's got long range. Not as safe into the Vi, obviously. They may be considering a Xayah option here as well, but it has to be a late game hyper carry here for Jiwoo. Yeah, the Ezreal is still also a strong possibility here, and they have pick priority. Kai'Sa with Naafiri is great, but with Galio and...
I mean, I don't mind it because you can cause a ruckus,
I suppose.
but I do think that the Zeri, the Aphelios, they feel like the most dangerous things on the Rift right now. I think D+ probably need one of them as well. I would love to see Aphelios Thresh or something like that out of Smash and Korea in this game. Because Thresh Jax is also quite powerful if the Thresh can deliver a Counter-Strike.
This set of bans really just makes me feel like they're angling for the Zeri. I think they expect the Xayah was going to be banned. Ezreal can work, but it's not the same type of hyper carry, right? It's safe, but it requires you to hit a lot of skill shots and chip away at the enemy team. It's not the same sort of Gio walks forward spaces perfectly and evaporates them with auto attacks type of champion. Yeah. With the Nefiri and the Galio to help set up picks for a Jinx, it would be phenomenal, but they banned the Lulu, which makes me wonder what the game plan is. I think it might just be a Felios angle here. Let's see.
Have to say, the Ezreal is what they got. Kalista. So I was wondering about this. Are they just going to Kalista Renata? Because the Ashe Seraphine isn't available. And that has been the way to completely demolish this lane. The problem is now with 6 supports and 680 carries all taken off out of the pool, some of those are the ones that do quite well into the Kalista.
You're also playing Kalista into Talia and Jax.
I mean, yeah, there is a part where the bad news starts coming in, which is Kalista is largely a mid-game champion, is what we've kind of seen.
And now you're playing into Ziggs as well.
Okay. That means that we don't have a lot of consistent damage on D+'s side.
Yeah, this game is going to get really weird. There's going to be, like, I think this ends up being a one-sided game, right, no matter which way it goes.
And I also think D+ can only smoke and mirrors. It's all they've been playing throughout this entire series is, no, we don't really want a team fight. Actually, we'd prefer to play side lanes. And that falls apart when you get later on into the game and when nerves are high.
It doesn't fit Smash's skill set, in my mind. As we get just more engaged here, looking for the big boom boom. There was no other pick here for Andil. It was always going to be the Renata, unless it was stolen away. Because it is great into Vi Jax, right? It is the most powerful pair champion with the Kalista because of how bailout works and how easy it is for Kalista to just use the bailout timer to get more Ren stacks to then pull them out and get that reset. They have the insane front line, and the Galio can also help keep this Kalista alive. They're putting all the eggs in the Jew basket. I think, like I said, this game is not good. It's not a game where there's a comeback angle for either side. You kind of take control. You never let it go. We have shown, or D+ have shown rather, that sometimes it feels like that should be the case and doesn't work out that way. But I think in this game in particular, if this Talia Vi gets ahead, they can run the map. They have side lane pressure with this Jax that can never be matched. They have Ziggs who can also impact sides. His burst damage is going to be great. How this laning phase on the bottom lane goes, I think, is one of the most important factors. Can the Ziggs just outpoke the Kalista, or do they make a mistake? The Kalista gets ahead, it's a disaster, and the game ends.
And we've actually seen, like, I've had my opinion changed about Kalista. Kalista was seen as a very early game focused champion, but we've seen a lot of players actually make her do a lot of work later on in the game. And one thing she does very, very well is secure objectives. Now, is that going to be in question when you put a Mega Inferno Bomb into the mix? You know, there are a lot of these question marks that a Ziggs composition can add. But what I'm looking at, DRX standard draft, DK weird one, worked for DRX last time. Let's get onto the Rift. All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, onto the Rift for what could be the final game in this series and the first victory for DRX over D+ Kia since they won Worlds in 2022. Like, and they didn't even beat DK then, but it was 2022 that they won the last time. It's kind of insanity.
It is just hard to wrap your head around, especially because of how favored D+ were coming into this series. And I think a lot of people thought, myself included, that Jiu's palms were kind of fake news, you know? He was set up by his supports, right? But there were a lot of scraps and skirmishes that were gifting him early kills. I was like, oh, surely D+
I mean, I saw Andil palms that were taken by Jiu.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And I kind of look at this series in a different, or that moment in a different light now. Although I think what we said was still true. Jiu is just performing incredibly well without those freaks.
What was that? Andil just kind of rolled underneath it like Indiana Jones?
He just crouched.
Yeah. That was epic. He's playing like 2x KO or something like that instead. Just dodges the projectile. Very nicely done.
Well, this early poke isn't amounting to enough here for Smash and career, obviously just yet at level 1.
Yeah, I don't need to worry about it too much, although that Pierce did a lot of work. They should be able to just grab this wave as it heads towards the turret. And after a couple of buttons have been put together, and Smash is going to be able to be pretty comfortable here in this
going
lane.
in as the Rakan, you know, we talked about the all-in angle we saw from Andil in Game 1. Going in as Rakan here is just a suicide mission. Do not want to do it. Just want to wait.
It is a little bit rough, as they do grab a little bit of overgrowth, as DK just trying to clear out these minions as best they can.
Honestly,
takes a cheeky turret shot.
Gio is playing this really well. You know, they're just adding enough damage in, pushing these waves at the right time, threatening, while not overextending. Like, as a second satchel attempt, this one actually pushed him back, but not enough to actually make anything of it. The first one did not push him into range of anything. And they're just playing this incredibly measured, but while also keeping the pressure on here. So the range advantage means very little here for the Ziggs with low damage in these early levels.
A good seismic shove there from Showmaker. His Taliyah has always been great. Despite, you know, what I was saying about Taliyah earlier on.
I remember Taliyah in 2021 was a very strong jungle pick. Only D+ were able to flex it to the mid lane occasionally. Canyon was arguably the best Taliyah at the time. Showmaker would occasionally play it, and everyone's like, she's not viable mid before she was changed. Showmaker was like, it is possible. I will do it.
He's certainly one of those guys. As Nefiri going to go home, Willer is just going to collect a pickaxe and make his way back out onto the rift, heading for a re-clear as Lucid took the northern scuttle. So no kerfuffles around the scuttle. Good news for DRX fans. Smash in Korea with a very large wave. It's not something that DRX is going to be able to fight around. As level 4 actually very close here for DK.
I love how in this meta, this is where the observer camera is.
Yep.
It just doesn't go in. There's no reason. There's a mini-map if you're interested in seeing.
I really hope we never look at top lane. Just like not even a little bit.
I saw they both teleported and I was like, yeah, that's all I need to know.
Yeah.
CS lead to Rich at the moment, as we do have a bit of a trade positively for DRX here.
Yeah, Battle Dance is pretty powerful. So Korea is able to get himself out of the way after the handshake. As early game Sion, doing what it says on the tin.
Smash hasn't had to teleport yet. He has not backed yet to buy his first item.
Also hasn't fallen behind, so he's actually feeling pretty good at the moment on the Ziggs.
It's really
the bombs.
Really hard when the wave is positioned like this for Career and Smash to actually have an impact, even with Andil sitting at half health. They're like, yeah, I don't want to play that game.
Yeah, you can see Andil is still feeling feisty, you know? He's still ready to go for something.
He can self-bail out, and then Gio will set it up if they try to go on him. So always a scary moment as Yucal gets a big chunk here.
Yeah, Showmaker struggling a little bit now. Has actually already teleported back to the lane. So Yucal feeling pretty good. Now Magic Mantle in hand.
Willer on the Fury just feels right. You know, Willer missed the early Nefiri days here in the LCK because he was in Challengers at the time. Always excited to see Willer play these types of picks. When I think of Willer, the first pick that comes to mind is actually Elise.
Yeah.
As, hold up, we might have a bit of a skirmish here.
Ooh, Lucid looking for a little bit of an angle. See whether Team Rocket is blasting off again with this particular skin choice. As Yucal moving over, Showmaker as well is able to set up the wall. Let's see whether he does pull the trigger on that one, and there it is. Andil is over very far away from the rest of his team. Shoved back and destroyed. That's the steal as well. Oh no! A kerfuffle around where the Scuttle Crab is spawning. Now Gio is dead as well. There's no bailout available, and D+ will grab 2 swift kills and take DRX's lunch money.
Yeah, unfortunately, in this type of scrappy fight, the Kalista is normally very strong, but the setup, unfortunately, it was not there. And Andil was cut off. Showmaker has a great angle. You know, sitting on level 6, skills his ult, puts it to great use there, and Smash is free hitting. And DRX should have been able to secure the dragon, but then Lucid, as you mentioned, also gets the steal. As watch this setup here, Andil is cut off.
Oh,
so he's just free food. And he doesn't even self-bail out here because I guess he was hoping maybe something else was going to happen, but ultimately just dies, right? And Gio's like, well, I'm trying to kite back. I'm dead. Cannot do it. Even pops his barrier out of desperation.
Yeah, kind of crazy that bailout wasn't pressed at all.
Yeah,
right?
could have bought them a few seconds to maybe try to turn something around, but he just, I don't know, he just didn't. He was like, well, it's not going to work, but it would have at least given you something.
Yeah. And now D+ push this wave in with an advantage for Ziggs as well. I mean, that can spell so much more. I know we're going to have that all explained to us on the space because Orcs is there, and so we don't really need to talk about Ziggs too much. But We know that as soon as he gets ahead, you then lose all of your structures. And then he gets even more ahead, and so you lose more of your structures, never have access to objectives, and the Ziggs is doing bajillions of damage.
The crazy thing
not a whole lot you can do about it.
Is if Showmaker doesn't find that wall angle and cut Andal off, and they just kind of try to brute force there, kind of think the Kalista pops off, and we could be looking at a 1,500 gold lead for DRX, and Jiu's ahead, but the wall was enough. Like, that was just straight up, Andal is dead, the fight is over, and so the game state is definitely massively D+ favored.
Oh dear, there's Heartbreaker Flash, cease and desist, and I don't think Jiu's getting bailed out of that one.
At least he pressed it this time.
There you go. The silver linings are not very prevalent, as it's 3-0 in favor of D+, now moving closer to a 2,000 gold lead.
It's such a meta where with drafts like this, you win early, you win the game. Like,
and also, like, the DRX draft, man. I mean, where's the comeback potential in a draft like this?
Honestly, for even D+'s draft, like, where's the comeback potential? If the Jax fell super far behind and the Kalista was online, like, it's really, really tricky. They have some cool engage tools, but you're playing into Renata, so if you just try to brute force your way there, you're going to have a hard time. But now, the Ziggs kind of has free reign in this game. And here they're just trying to get back on the horse, basically. Like, all right, let's go back, and we're still strong in this 2v2. Not strong in the 2v3, no, unfortunately, and they were not able to suss out where Lucid was, despite the Sentinel there on the left side, trying to expect him to wrap around through the bottom side. He completely went through the river. As Career is just, he's Rakan, he doesn't care.
Yep, he's going to be A-OK. Mega Inferno Bomb just to clear out the wave, and the Hextech Minefield going to be enough. And so the Nefiri, now with not a whole lot to do, Lucid spotted here on these grubs, as that's a teleport. Lucid just going to get out of there and say, all right.
Like, I'm going to TP and ult the jungler.
Well, I mean, that is something he could theoretically do.
It kind of works out, though, here for DRX. Let's see if they're able to secure these now, the remaining two.
Yep, that will be grub advantage. And I think if you're against a Jax composition, try to get the grubs away from him. I think that's a good idea. He wants to be splitting as much of this game as possible.
Plus the Ziggs.
Yes, also, yes, very good, very true. I always look at the top lane for split push potential, but yeah, Ziggs is problematic.
He is kind of a scary pusher. He's not pushing right now, as they did get into the isolated 1v1. Jiu is matched farm, and it's going to take a big win here for DRX in an unexpected team fight. Like, it's going to take some crazy outplay, or potentially even a misplay, like Andal flanks, and he gets this really cool Renata ultimate when Lucid and Showmaker try to go in with Weaver's Wall and the Talia ult, something like that, for them to get back into the game. Because it's only a 2,000 gold lead, but the win cons here become so easy for D+ if they can maintain map control and push control. And sure, the Ziggs doesn't have it in the 1v1, but when the Rakan shows up and the jungler is getting involved, you don't have that same control as Jiu, who's 0-2 in this game, doesn't have his call yet. If they lose another fight, I think you can pretty much get, open youtube.com, search Silver Scrapes, if you're a D+ fan,
Yeah. And I'd suggest the Mark Z version.
Yes, it's generally, for what this series has been like, I think the appropriate call.
Yes, 100%.
And also LCS
oh god,
he's
got Luden's Echo already. It feels very early.
That's
10.5
feels unfair.
Yeah. He's only 650 gold ahead though, so maybe it's all right. 7 items, including boots, Ziggs, sounds like a lot of damage to me, as Korea taking too much of said damage. But did have buttons available, so just eat some honey fruit. It's going to be all right. Jiu hops out of the way. Alrighty. Andal moving on in. Korea. Just going to have to back away. We'll be able to do so, though. This Drake has spawned. D+, looking at it. Earth, Wind, and Fire on the table. That would be fun as Lucid Volt breaks in. Andal's going to get knocked up. Hostile takeover comes on through. Flash out from Smash to try and avoid that. It's a great handshake as Korea wants to find the battle dance, and he will be able to do so. As DRX, this is a scuttle crab as Andal is just going to get thrown at Lucid. Showmaker puts the rocks down, throws back the gargoyle. Mega Inferno Bomb comes in, but that That is going to be the dodge on the damage out of Willa. Fantastically done there, and Lucid's going to be taken out. Weaver's Wall comes in. Showmaker, that is aggressive positioning as the seismic shove does go wide. Now he's tanking the dragon, but that large boulder did a whole bunch of work here as Korea goes in, gets the knockups, and now, oh, Smash is bobbing for apples. Looking for the angle. There is the taunt, the flash out from Showmaker, though, as now Yukao deals with the dragon. Justice Punch comes in. There's a great handshake as Korea not able to finish them off, but these health bars are so low. Bouncing bomb, not enough. And Smash is waddling, trying to get in range. He's not quite able to do so.
I guess it's just a hands game, isn't it, Atlas?
Yeah, I think that's probably what it is.
You know, if for those...
1-0 in favor of DRX, by the way. Successful fight around a scuttle.
Yeah, and they got the scuttle as well. Willer was able to secure that.
Oh my goodness.
This fight is pretty broken up for D+, right? And this is not exactly what I meant by the Renata flank angle. It's kind of a wonky one where Smash almost flashed and then got hit by it anyways, but he was able to avoid it. But it's really the group here for DRX as the Dragon is being taken in live by D+. It's the better group and the better team fight setup here for for DRX, whereas D+ have to make these desperate calls like Career trying to look for a re-engager, but Smash can't quite get in. Showmaker goes over the wall here to try to look for an angle.
So close to getting Jude.
His rocks positioning there, the Showmaker rock positioning throughout this entire fight, by the way, phenomenal to prevent any sort of collapse here. And he has his flash, and Ryuko has to use flash to get on top of him. He flashes out. And then from here, Willer has to use his escape. The handshake is real, but they're not quite able, either side, to close the gap to get those kills.
Oh God, it's a Hextech hole.
It is.
That's very scary.
And this time, D+ have the double dragon.
All right, that's good for D+. We're going to put that in the pros column.
They also have a Ziggs, which is very good for proccing Hextech Soul.
Yeah, bouncing bomb into bzzzt, into Luden's into bzzzt. Oh my goodness, it's going to be very, very annoying. You can be like even close to when something gets hit by a bouncing bomb and still get slowed. Just feels terrible. And he is almost 1,000 gold ahead.
Yeah, if this Cole cashes in, you know, Gio will shore up some of that deficit right now, but it is a pretty significant CS advantage that is being held by the Ziggs at the moment.
Yeah.
And the problem with this Kalista being behind, sometimes we're like, okay, Kalista's behind, it's not great, but the mid lane Azir surely will do a lot of damage later.
Yeah.
And this composition is so all in on this Kalista.
And that used to be the old DRX special, right?
Yeah.
When it was Deft and Chovy that were playing.
So super common, but now we're looking at a Galio here, so they need to make something happen early.
Well, Korea's going in, looking for that grand entrance. Need to make sure I'm talking about the correct entrance because there's a heroic one in this game as well. That is not a button that's pressed. The Gargoyle does have that one available. Flash cease and desist. They're just trying to blow up Willa. They do manage to at least get the ulti to land, but there is that heroic entrance that we were talking about, and Korea is going to go down. Jiu secures that kill, and they just didn't have enough burst damage to take down the Nefiri.
Yeah, that's the moment where a teenager, probably like in 11th grade, says through the speaker, sir, this was a Nefiri that we engaged on. As he just eventually is able to press his escape button, and then Galio shows up because he's a global, and you're going into the meat grinder of the Kalista composition, and D+. I said this game was going to be one-sided, because again, I keep trusting that D+ can use these leads, but
oh dear,
maybe not.
Well, Korea grand exits, and Willer is just going to bounce over that wall himself. Rich is rotating down also. Let's see whether the grand entrance is going to come back off cooldown in time, and it does, but is it going to be enough? Yes, Battle Dance is going to get him out of there. Not enough sticks, and he'll be okay. But Rift Herald has now spawned.
I mean, yeah, he
in
lives,
good position.
But this is a huge win. Like, now the gold lead is basically gone for D+. And they're going to go for a contest here. Last minute, Andil, no ult.
No Mega Inferno Bomb for Smash either. So Lucid's going to make it a 50-50 regardless, as the train's going to come in, but the Scion didn't really want it as, okay, that's just a fadeaway smite here from Lucid, and now they're stuck in the pit. Lucid's going to try and stop them, as now Rich dealing with 3 people, the rest of DRX not quite figuring it out, as Shiu is going to be their target, but he's got a counter-strike, finds a double stun, as G almost dies, as he just completed his Trinity Force, and he's going to survive. Now Showmaker gets on in there with the Weavers, while the backup for the Jax has arrived finally, as the quickness from this Rakan gets in. Giu's trying to get bailed out, but that fails, and the interruption on Shelly from Lucid. This is the problem with D+. They're capable of this beauty and also all of the other things that happened in this series.
For real, and in this game. Okay, we take it, we unpack it. Are we? Oh, am I back on trusting D+ now? I'm like not really sure, but
I thought you were gonna say, "Am I live?" And like, yes, Wolf, we can still hear you.
Okay, yeah. I was not as worried about that, but it's good to confirm.
I can't actually confirm. I'm not listening to the stream. I
Sounds
can
like
turn it up or something.
Okay, but look, 41 health on this smite. The bigger issue is the chase on the Jax. They could have tried to play through the ultimate here from Rich and the space he bought, but instead, there's exactly an damage dealer for DRX. He does auto attacks, and Xiu is like,
Korea, just pick up the eye. Ah, he does. Okay, good.
look at Xiu. He's like, I'm counter-striking it, and I'm flashing away, and I'm Jax. I jump away, and now we're where? Oh, we're under the enemy top lane turret. Now we can't get out.
And the rotational speed from this Talia, incredibly valuable.
It's just, you know, you lost the Herald. It seems like kind of sunk cost fallacy here for DRX in terms of trying to hard force after that. And into this composition, you will get punished. And it feels like for the first time in this series, DRX make a decisive call that is in fact punished by D+.
Yeah, and I want to say sorry to Talia. Maybe just sorry to Showmaker. You can pick whatever you like, man. My personal biases on champions, be damned. He just looks real good, no matter what he's playing. As Lucid, punching some little doggos, which makes me a little bit sad, but I guess they're just video game doggos, so it's okay.
They're not really doggos. They're like darkened beasts that are evil.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
And sometimes hot dogs.
What was that Nintendo DS Dogs game? Was it just
Nintendogs?
Nintendogs, that's the one. I mean, if he was punching those, like, that would be just completely wrong. As, okay, Smash is going to get ran into here by a train, and now the ulti from Willa comes on forward. Heroic Entrance comes down as well. Mega Inferno Bomb has already been used, though. Smash has thrown out all of his damage, right? DRX, they used everything to try and do that.
Jax.
And in the meantime, the 1-3-1 is upon them. And they cannot even take this dragon.
Yeah, this is, by the way, only one grub on Xiu. And Lucid is going to get the dragon, so you
and that's another wave crashes bot lane.
You almost won the team fight. Also, your base is about to be exposed.
Yeah, you almost caught Captain Smash Sparrow.
Yeah.
It just, it cost you everything. That is going to be Soul Point going over to DK in the interim.
And I suppose maybe we were right to trust D+'s lead all along.
I don't think we're allowed to say trust and D+ in the same sentence before the game is over.
Leandri's is done for Showmaker. He does have a Dark Seal, so they have the tempo vibes. Okay.
I'm really glad that it's, at least he's built a Leandri's instead of, like, and it's obviously fantastic into this comp that has 2 tanks, but, like, sometimes you see Rylai's second, and it's just so sad.
What it did is back on the hype train of DK greater than
I feel
VFX.
like the deal with it glasses are a little bit different. I think this is more like a therapy session. Like, this is how he's dealing with it at this point.
He is, okay, hold up.
She is dealing with it with a Trinity Force and a Dream. And Willa's going to come down and try and convince him to fight him instead. Flash has to be used from Yukao to get him out of the way. And Xiu is just able to do whatever the hell he wants.
TP was interrupted by Showmaker as well, trying to come in there and impact the play. So now down TP on the Scion. Is okay. Now we're walling.
We are.
This is how you use Talia Weaver's Wall when you're ahead. If they don't respect
how you use Ziggs, just taking the stuff. Well, Smash can't actually get to the turret,
but this is how you use the Talia. You're like, okay, if you're on the other side of the wall, you die. If you're behind the wall, I kill your things.
Yeah. We kill turret.
It's very simple.
Oh god, this Hextech dragon is making me very nervous. It's just
Why does it make you nervous? You know, just this because it's a little ambiguous what you're saying.
All right. If DK gets it, what they're going to be capable of is worrisome for DRX.
Okay, because for a moment, that's what I kind of thought you meant, but I also thought you meant, like, if D+ get this, the lead will be so crazy that the throw will feel so terrible. Because I trust them this time, okay? Showmaker's got the Dark Seal, doesn't have the Magi's yet, but we know it's coming.
Yeah.
They have a 6,000 gold lead, but this composition is unstoppable now. They outrange the Callista. There's no other damage threats.
Yeah, no worries at all.
There's no way this doesn't go to Silver Screen.
Honestly,
like I said,
we should just put on some nice music and let it play out.
Yeah, maybe like Mark Z, Kazoo, and...
yeah.
It's surely... There is no way.
We'll have the orchestral Silver Scrapes and we'll play the extended version and we'll just lead into that game 5. Just not ready. I'm not ready.
With all the components and Smash's inventory, he's really puffing out his chest of his item lead right now. You know what I mean? He's like, I'm
Look
full
at where I can put all of these items. I've got so many items.
Not a single slot is wasted on this right now.
No mage gets to feel this. Haha.
3 open slots for the Callista. I'm massively ahead.
Yep, it's beautiful. As all right, Rich is going to pull the trigger here, looking for the angle. Doesn't exactly find the damage onto Lucid, as Smash is also just fine. Knocked up by the Grand Entrance. The rest of DRX are left in the dirt, unable to catch up to their tank, and he gives them the big old thumbs up and walks away. Coward!
Not a the most inspiring Weaver's Wall, but good enough to make sure no one could follow up on that, which was lackluster. Oh.
Willa bounces over the wall. He's going to be all right.
There's the satchel. Finally, they got it.
Yep.
And in 1 minute and 40 seconds,
we're going to have to cue the music.
Yeah, either D+ will win the game or something really funny will happen.
Yeah.
Unless you're a D+ fan.
Or the throw will begin. It's going to be a multi-part process, though, this throw, if it does actually happen. As Rich, oh yeah, there's a sad beat. Quickness comes on through. There is a heroic entrance, and so Rich will buy a bunch of cooldowns. The problem is he has to use his flash. He loses his inner turret. The lead extends, and now DK have a lot of empty space between DRX and the Dragon.
If the Dragon was up, would have been very upset with the play that just happened there, but it's not.
He would have to go back to dealing with it again.
And you know, as it turns out, Baron's up. DRX are going to throw a Hail Mary in. He's going to test the decision-making here of D+. They have the Rend, so this is a strong call. I think this game is almost surely lost, so you got to make something happen like this.
Oh, Shu has the counter-strike. Lucid's taken a Hex Gate and gets behind Rich. Oh no, countered. Oh, that's very frustrating.
Okay, well, they tried to do Baron.
Hey, look, they didn't all die.
No, and maybe they will show up to this Dragon fight inevitably. I love this Team Liquid course that just keeps giving the thumbs up.
Yeah. Oh, dear. Okay. Everyone's okay. We're fine. We're fine. Once again, DRX lose all ground. 20 seconds on the Hextech Dragon. Teleport from Shiu gets him towards that bottom lane. And look at the amount of darkness between DRX and the Drake. Face checking, a difficulty.
Jax may end the game if there's a little bit of indecision here, but he is walking up right now. He doesn't have TP. DRX trying to make this, again, a second attempt at Baron turn into a mistake for D+. If D+ misplay this, I suppose there's a potential angle. Maybe.
Yeah. And it also will stop them from doing the Hextech Dragon right now. So that is a good thing. The problem is they're also in a shooting gallery, and there is Smash with these bouncing bombs that are just really, really difficult to avoid when you're in an enclosed space. Now Rich standing in front of him, and he is very tanky on this Scion. As Willa, can he find the angle into the backline? Goes Shiu, looks for it. Quickness is fantastic. Mega Inferno Bomb is largely avoided, but still does a bit of work. As Shiu getting into that backline will proc the bailout, and down goes Shiu, and that means down goes all the damage. Out goes Yukal. He's going to see what he can get done here, but Showmaker is off on the side. The threaded volley. Yeah, the taunt doesn't mean too much, as that button was already pressed and the gargoyle will go down. The Baron was actually secured, as Lucid just decided to stay in the pit and finish that one off. And now it's a 10,000 gold lead. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, unlosable.
Yeah, I think this was DRX's way of saying, we're up in the series. Let's throw a curveball. D+ has messed it up a little bit this series. Maybe we can get something going. But unfortunately for DRX in this fight, Jiu is just deleted by Shiu here. And he just gets access. He has Counter-Strike. He showed up to this fight, decided not to side lane instead. It was the right call. And as we pointed out multiple times, and as you point out the play-by-play in this fight, dead Jiu means there is no game to be had here for DRX. And so D+ win out, grab Baron, 10,000 gold lead. Hextech Soul
is a 10,000 gold lead. Hextech Soul, Baron, and full map control enough for DK to cleanly win.
I don't even think KT could throw this one. There's no way, Atlas.
All right, we shaving the head, Wolf?
Yeah. No, beard. Can I do beard?
Yeah, you can do beard.
All right, I'll shave the beard completely off.
I remember when you did that last time. It was kind of weird. I love that bet. That's a really good one.
Yeah.
Okay, Shiu now in this mid lane. Didn't you do that just to experiment to see whether your girlfriend at the time would like it, now wife?
Yeah, I mean, I've
and then she was like, grow it back.
Yeah, she did. She told me not to grow it first, but then she changed her mind later. I don't think people will like it if I shave my beard, but I don't think I'm going to have to.
Yeah,
the real talk here.
DK are making you look pretty safe right now, as I'm the one that looks silly, because Showmaker's about to win with Talia. As there is the flick back on Rich. And yeah, unfortunately, that train didn't have any tracks. And, well, actually, the tracks are there. He's just on the wrong side of them. As the Weaver's Wall came up to make sure that the escape was just not there for the zombie. And the zombie wasn't able to escape anyway. He was always going to die. Now Nexus turret's under fire. This top inhibitor turret is probably going to go down as more of a formality than anything else. Look at this army of siege minions! That's all right, they're looking for Showmaker, and Mega in front of him goes down. Chiyu doesn't even get bailed out this time. He is just dead in an instant. The hostile takeover is leaving. It's just leaving. DRX, they're going back to the drawing board, and we are heading to Silver Scrapes as D plus Kia keep the series alive.
It's going to be unplayable with how the early game went. It's not the kind of painful game where you're sitting there going the whole time like, oh, they're destroying us. Like we've lost our momentum in the series. You just know, okay, we go next. This is why you get a lead in the series. This is why you try your best to play around that bottom lane. You messed it up, but that was your win calling out the window.